She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
The courtroom is silent. Everyone is watching, waiting. Then, something shocking happens. Queen Camilla's face turns pale. Her hands shake. Before anyone can react, she falls to the floor. Gasps fill the room. People jump up from their seats. Judges, lawyers, security. Everyone is in shock. Just moments ago, she had stood there, waiting to hear her punishment. But as soon as the judge spoke, everything changed. The words hit her like a heavy weight. Her eyes widened, her body swayed. And then, she collapsed. Guards rush to her side. Some people whisper, others just stare. What was said in that courtroom? What kind of sentence was so shocking that it made the queen fall? The truth behind this moment is something no one saw coming. How did Queen Camilla end up in court? The story of how Queen Camilla ended up in court is truly shocking. It left the whole nation stunned. For years there had been whispers, small rumors in the air about royal money being spent where it shouldn't. But no one ever expected it to blow up like this. It all started with leaked documents. These papers didn't just come out of nowhere. They were leaked by someone who used to work inside the palace. The documents showed that millions of pounds from the royal funds were being used for personal luxuries. Not just normal shopping or gifts, but private jets, secret holidays, and even hush money to cover up past royal scandals. One of the biggest shocks was that the money trail led straight to Queen Camilla. People had always joked about her love for the finer things, but now there was proof. Some claimed she knew about it, others said she didn't. But one thing was clear. This scandal was too big to hide. The public was furious. The cost of living was already hitting everyone hard. Families were struggling to buy groceries, pay bills, and survive. And here was the queen consort, using public funds like her own piggy bank. The anger grew every day. Protesters stood outside Buckingham Palace with signs that read, "Not with our money." The media had a field day. Every news channel, every newspaper, every social media platform was full of updates about Camilla's scandal. Every hour brought a new leak or a shocking twist. People couldn't stop watching. The British people felt betrayed, and the pressure on the royal family was at an all-time high. What made things worse was the fact that royals rarely face legal action. The last time the public saw a royal facing legal trouble was when Prince Andrew got caught up in a serious scandal. But even then, the family managed to protect him. This time, however, it was different. The evidence was too strong, and the people were too angry. There was no way out. The case had to go to court. The courtroom drama. The day of the trial felt like a movie. People gathered outside the court from early morning, holding signs and chanting. Reporters from all over the world were there, trying to get a glimpse of the queen as she walked in. Everyone wanted to see her face. Would she look scared? Would she even show up? As the clock hit 9 a.m., the doors of the courtroom opened. Cameras flashed like crazy, and there she was, Queen Camilla. She wore a black dress and dark sunglasses. Her face was pale, and her lips tight. She didn't smile. She didn't wave. She just walked straight in, ignoring the crowd. But one thing was clear. King Charles was not with her. People noticed. It spoke louder than words. The air inside the courtroom was heavy. You could feel the tension. The prosecution was ready. They laid out every piece of evidence they had. Photos, receipts, bank records, all showing how money meant for charity and public projects had been used for Camilla's personal pleasures. Private island holidays, designer clothes, secret deals, everything was out in the open now. And then came the biggest twist. Statements from palace staff. People who had worked for the queen stood in front of everyone and spoke. They talked about how they were asked to cover things up. They talked about the threats they received when they refused. One former staff member, with tears in her eyes, said, "We were told to stay silent or lose our jobs. We were scared." Camilla's defense team tried their best. They painted her as a woman who was just a victim of palace politics. They argued that she didn't know where the money was coming from. They said she simply trusted the wrong people. Her lawyer even said, Her Majesty only did what she thought was best for the crown. She never meant to harm anyone. But the damage was done. The court had heard too much. The people had seen too much. Deep down, even Camilla knew. This was not going to end well. The verdict and sentencing. After days of arguments, witness statements, and countless evidence being shown, the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. The courtroom went silent as the judge prepared to deliver the verdict. Cameras zoomed in. Reporters held their breath. Even outside the court, people stood frozen, waiting. The judge began by recapping the case. He spoke about the years of misuse of funds, the lies, and the cover-ups. His voice was cold, firm, and full of disappointment. Then came the words that shook the entire nation. Her Majesty Queen Camilla is found guilty of the charges presented. Gasps echoed across the courtroom. Some cried, others clapped, and then the sentence was announced. Queen Camilla was fined millions of pounds. But that wasn't all. She was sentenced to 2 years of house arrest inside a royal estate. She was also stripped of several royal titles. From that day forward, she would no longer be known as Her Majesty in any official capacity. The camera zoomed in on Camilla's face. Her eyes filled with tears. She looked lost, broken, and humiliated. And then, right there in front of everyone, Camilla collapsed. Her body went limp as she fainted. Gasps filled the courtroom. Reporters shouted. Medical staff rushed in, trying to revive her. Outside, the scene was wild. Protesters cheered. They screamed, "Justice! Finally justice!" But not everyone was happy. Loyal royal supporters stood in tears, clutching pictures of Camilla and the king. It was a moment no one would ever forget. International media jumped on the story. Headlines all over the world screamed, "Queen collapses in court after sentence." The royal family's darkest day was now playing live on every TV screen across the globe. Royal family's response. As news of Camilla's collapse spread, all eyes turned to Buckingham Palace. Everyone wanted to know, how was King Charles reacting? Hours later, a royal spokesperson read out a statement from the king. His words were full of sadness. "My wife is a victim of circumstance. She has been treated unfairly. We will stand by her." But behind the scenes, rumors told a different story. Insiders claimed King Charles was furious. Not just angry, but embarrassed that the woman he loved had dragged the monarchy through the mud. Things got worse when Prince William and Prince Harry reacted. William stayed silent, avoiding reporters, but sources close to him said he was heartbroken and disappointed. Harry, on the other hand, couldn't resist. Meghan posted a cryptic message on Instagram that read, "Karma always knows where to find you." Fans went wild. Was it aimed at Camilla? Many believed it was. Inside the palace, chaos broke out. Senior royal advisors held emergency meetings. Damage control plans were made. The royal family knew they were standing on thin ice. One wrong move, and the monarchy itself could fall. In another statement, the palace promised full cooperation with the law. But the truth was, they were scared. Scared of what this meant for the future. Impact on the monarchy. The impact of the scandal was bigger than anyone could have imagined. Overnight, public support for the royal family dropped. Polls showed shocking results. More than half the country now wanted the monarchy abolished. People were tired. Tired of scandals, tired of secrets, tired of paying for royal luxuries while they struggled to live. Talks began in Parliament about cutting royal funding. Why should taxpayers' money go to a family that misused it? The anger was real, and it was growing every day. The scandal didn't just stop in the UK. Commonwealth countries like Australia and Canada started asking tough questions. Was it time to break ties with the British monarchy? Could they really stand by a royal family involved in such corruption? For Camilla, the future looked bleak. People wondered, would she ever be seen in public again? Could she survive this? Rumors spread that she might lose her queen title forever. Some even said the king was considering exile, sending Camilla away to a private estate, far from the public eye. The fairy tale was over. What was left was a royal family in ruins. The aftermath, and what's next. In the days that followed, updates about Camilla's health started to come out. She was recovering at a private estate, far from the cameras. Some sources claimed she was heartbroken. Others said she barely spoke. The once powerful queen consort was now a prisoner in her own palace. Whispers of divorce started floating around. People wondered if King Charles could really stay married to someone who brought so much shame to the crown. But the palace stayed silent, at least for now. Camilla's legal team hinted at a possible appeal. They were still fighting, still hoping to clear her name. But deep down, everyone knew it was over. The bigger picture, however, was scarier. What did this mean for royal accountability? Would future royals also be dragged to court if they messed up? Was this the beginning of the end for the British monarchy? People around the world were watching, waiting, wondering what would happen next. The courtroom may have gone silent, but the questions still remain. What happens next? Will Queen Camilla recover from this shocking moment? And most importantly, what does this sentence mean for the future? One thing is certain, this story is far from over. Make sure to stay updated because there's more to uncover. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next big update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
Some secrets are too big to stay hidden forever. And this one? It's sending shockwaves through the royal family. Tucker Carlson couldn't believe what he was hearing. His guest sat across from him, calmly revealing something about Queen Camilla that no one was supposed to know. The look on Carlson's face said it all: disgust, shock, and maybe even a little anger. Who was the guest on Tucker Carlson's show? Now, first things first, who was the person who made this claim? This wasn't just some random YouTuber or a gossip columnist trying to make headlines. No, this was someone who had real knowledge, someone with access to information that the public was never supposed to hear. Some sources believe it was a former royal staff member, someone who worked behind the scenes in the palace, watching everything unfold up close. Others claim it was an investigative journalist, someone who had spent years digging into the hidden secrets of the British royal family. Whoever they were, one thing was clear: they knew something that most people didn't. And when they spoke, even Tucker Carlson, a man who has covered some of the most controversial stories in modern history, was left stunned. What did they reveal about Queen Camilla? Now let's talk about the real bombshell. What did this guest actually say that made Tucker Carlson react with shock and disgust? The guest revealed that Queen Camilla may have been involved in secret dealings that the royal family desperately wanted to keep hidden. And this wasn't just about her past relationship with King Charles. This was something far bigger, something that could seriously damage her reputation, and possibly even the monarchy itself. The claims fell into three major categories: financial scandals, secret political influence, and personal controversies. 1. Financial scandals. One of the biggest revelations was that Camilla had allegedly been involved in financial corruption. According to the guest, she may have used her royal influence to help certain powerful businessmen and politicians in exchange for personal benefits. There were claims that she had connections with secretive investors, possibly even foreign ones, who were using the British royal family's name to push their own agendas. Some reports suggested that these shady dealings involved hidden bank accounts, offshore investments, and even land acquisitions that the public was never supposed to know about. Now think about it. The British monarchy is already criticized for the way they handle money. Every year, British taxpayers pay millions to support the royal family. So, if Queen Camilla was secretly using her position to benefit herself financially, that would be a huge scandal. The British people would feel betrayed. Could this be the reason why the royal family always keeps its finances so secretive? Could this be why certain details are never made public? These are questions that, if answered, could shake the very foundation of the monarchy. 2. Political influence. The guest didn't stop at financial scandals. They also claimed that Queen Camilla might be playing a much bigger role in controlling the royal family's decisions than people realize. Many believe that King Charles is the one making all the big choices. But what if that's not entirely true? What if Camilla has been influencing key royal decisions from behind the scenes? The guest suggested that Camilla had been secretly involved in major political discussions, possibly even pressuring government officials to make decisions that would benefit her and her inner circle. If this is true, then it completely changes the way we see the royal family. The monarchy is supposed to stay out of politics. They're supposed to be neutral. But if Camilla is pulling the strings behind the scenes, then what does that mean for democracy? 3. Personal scandals. And now, the part that made people's jaws drop. The personal scandals. For years, people have whispered about Camilla's role in the downfall of Princess Diana. We all know that Charles and Camilla had an affair while Charles was still married to Diana. But what if Camilla's involvement went deeper than we ever knew? The guest hinted that Camilla may have played a much bigger role in Diana's emotional struggles, possibly even working behind the scenes to isolate Diana from the royal family. But that wasn't all. There were also claims that Camilla had personal secrets of her own. Secrets that, if exposed, could ruin her reputation forever. Affairs? Hidden relationships? Connections with people the royal family wouldn't want the public to know about? The guests didn't give every single detail, but they made one thing very clear. Queen Camilla is not as innocent as she seems. Tucker Carlson's reaction. Now, let's talk about how Tucker Carlson reacted to all of this. We all know that Tucker is not easily shocked. He has covered some of the most intense stories out there, from political scandals to media corruption. But when his guest started exposing Queen Camilla, something changed. At first, Tucker looked curious. You could see in his face that he was paying close attention, trying to figure out whether this was just another wild conspiracy theory, or if there was real substance behind it. But as the guest went on, his expression got more serious. His eyes narrowed, his lips tightened. It was almost like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. And then, when the biggest claims were made about Camilla's secret influence and possible corruption, Tucker's reaction said it all. He shook his head. He leaned back in his chair. And for a moment, he was completely silent. That silence spoke louder than words. Finally, when he did speak, he asked the question that everyone at home was probably thinking. Why is nobody talking about this? And that's a great question, isn't it? Why is the media so quick to defend Queen Camilla? Why are these stories always buried? Why is it that every time a scandal about the royal family starts to surface, it suddenly disappears from the headlines? Tucker didn't outright say that he believed every word the guest said. He didn't claim that every detail was 100% confirmed. But he did say one thing very clearly. This was a conversation worth having. And that's the part that really matters. If even half of these claims are true, then the British public deserves to know. If Queen Camilla has been hiding dirty secrets, then the truth will come out sooner or later. The royal family's history of cover-ups. The British royal family is one of the most powerful and well-protected families in the world. They have wealth, influence, and a long history of carefully shaping their public image. Every time they step out in public, they are smiling, waving, and looking perfect. But behind closed doors, that's a different story. For decades, the royal family has been accused of covering up scandals, silencing people, and hiding the truth from the public. And every time a new scandal comes out, the same question arises. What else are they hiding? Now, with a shocking revelation about Queen Camilla, people are wondering once again, is this just another royal cover-up? To understand that, let's take a look at history. Because trust me, this isn't the first time the royal family has tried to keep something buried. The Prince Andrew scandal. One of the most shocking scandals in recent history involves Prince Andrew, the second son of Queen Elizabeth II. For years, Andrew was seen as a typical royal, attending events, smiling for the cameras, and living a life of luxury. But in 2019, everything changed. His name became linked to Jeffrey Epstein, a man who was known for some of the most horrible crimes imaginable. Even worse, a woman named Virginia Giuffre came forward, claiming that she was forced to be with Prince Andrew when she was just 17 years old. She had proof, photos, and witnesses. The accusations were horrifying. Now, what do you think the royal family did? Did they allow a proper investigation? Did they demand justice? Instead, they went into full damage control mode. They stayed quiet, hoping people would forget. But when the media kept digging, they tried a different tactic. Prince Andrew did an interview with the BBC, hoping to clear his name. But instead, he made things worse. He denied knowing Virginia, even though there was a photo of them together. He even used the strangest excuse. He claimed he couldn't have been with her on a certain date because he was at a pizza restaurant with his daughter. Yes, you heard that right. His alibi for one of the biggest scandals in royal history was pizza. The backlash was immediate. The interview was a disaster. People were furious. The royal family had no choice but to act. They stripped Andrew of his royal titles and public duties. He disappeared from public life. But did he ever face real consequences? Not really. Eventually, the royal family made a secret deal with Virginia Giuffre. They paid her millions of dollars so she would drop the case. And just like that, the scandal was quietly buried. But here's the real question. If the royal family was willing to protect Prince Andrew, who else have they protected? The tragic story of Princess Diana. Now, let's talk about Princess Diana, the most beloved royal in modern history. Diana was different. She was warm, kind, and truly cared about people. She didn't just smile and wave. She connected with the public. And because of that, she was adored by millions. But the royal family? They didn't feel the same way. Diana was seen as a problem. She didn't follow the rules. She spoke openly about her struggles, her loneliness, and her failing marriage to Charles. And when she famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage," referring to Camilla, she embarrassed the entire monarchy. Diana was supposed to stay quiet, but she refused. She exposed secrets the royal family didn't want the world to know. She talked about how Charles had been in love with Camilla all along. She talked about how the palace controlled every aspect of her life. And then, in 1997, something terrible happened. Diana died in a car crash in Paris. The world was in shock. The official story was that her driver was drunk, lost control, and crashed. But a lot of people didn't believe that. Witnesses claimed they saw a mysterious white car near Diana's vehicle just before the crash. Some heard loud bangs before the car lost control. And then there's the most chilling part. Diana herself had predicted something like this would happen. She had written a letter, saying she believed someone was planning an accident to get rid of her. And guess who she named in that letter? Prince Charles. Was it really just an accident? Or was it something more? We may never know for sure. But what we do know is that when the royal family wants something to disappear, they make it happen. How the royal family controls public perception. The royal family is not just a family, it's a business. It survives because people admire and respect it. But what happens when scandals threaten their reputation? That's when their damage control team steps in. They have media experts, PR advisors, and strategists working 24/7 to protect their image. If bad news comes out, they don't panic, they manage it. Sometimes they ignore the story, hoping it fades away. Sometimes they release a carefully worded statement that says nothing but sounds important. And when things get really bad, they create a distraction. For example, when Prince Andrew's scandal became too big to ignore, what happened? Suddenly, the media was flooded with negative stories about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. The timing was suspicious. Was it just a coincidence? Or was it a strategic distraction? The royal family has mastered the art of controlling public opinion. And that's why people are now questioning this new scandal about Queen Camilla. Is this just another royal cover-up? Is this new scandal about Queen Camilla another cover-up? So now we return to the big question. What about Queen Camilla? We know she has a history. We know she was at the center of Charles and Diana's broken marriage. We know she was once hated by the public. And even now, as queen, there are still people who don't trust her. Now, shocking information about her has come out. A guest on Tucker Carlson's show exposed something so disturbing that even Tucker looked disgusted. But here's the real question. What is the royal family doing to cover it up? Will they stay silent, hoping people forget? Will they release a carefully worded statement? Or will they distract us with another story? Maybe more drama about Harry and Meghan. If history has taught us anything, it's that the royal family will do whatever it takes to protect their image. But the truth has a way of coming out. The only question is, when? How the public reacted to the scandal. So what happened after this shocking revelation about Queen Camilla? Well, the internet exploded. People couldn't stop talking about it. Twitter was on fire, Reddit was buzzing, and YouTube comment sections were filled with arguments. Some were furious, some were shocked, and others were like, well, we saw this coming. Let's start with Twitter. Now, if you've spent even 5 minutes on Twitter, you know how wild things can get there. The moment this story broke, people started tweeting like crazy. Some users were posting memes, comparing Queen Camilla to historical villains. Others were writing long threads, trying to break down the situation like detectives. One tweet that went viral said, "First Diana, now this." The royal family never fails to disappoint. It got thousands of likes and retweets. But not everyone was against her. Some royal supporters were defending Camilla, saying people were being too harsh. One person tweeted, "This is just another attack on the monarchy. The Queen has worked hard to be where she is today." But that tweet? Yeah, it didn't get as much love. Most of the replies were people disagreeing, posting old clips of Diana's interviews, where she talked about her struggles. Now, Reddit was a whole different battlefield. You know how Reddit works. It's full of deep discussions. People were posting in forums like r/conspiracy, r/royal gossip, and even r/world news. Some users were sharing links to old news articles trying to prove that Camilla had always been hiding something. Others were asking, why do we still have a monarchy in 2025? A Reddit post with thousands of upvotes said, no matter how much the royal family tries to clean their image, the truth always finds a way out. And you know what? That's exactly what a lot of people felt. They believed the royal family had been covering up secrets for years, and this was just another example. And then, of course, there was YouTube. Tucker Carlson's clip from the show was trending. The comments section? A war zone. Some people were praising Tucker for speaking out, saying the mainstream media would never expose this. Others were saying Americans should stay out of British affairs, which of course made the comment section even messier. British versus American public opinion. Now, here's where things got really interesting. The way British people reacted was very different from the way Americans did. Let's talk about the British reaction first. A lot of people in the UK were angry, but not exactly surprised. You see, the British public has had a complicated relationship with Camilla for decades. Some have accepted her as queen, but many still see her as the woman who hurt Diana. This revelation just added fuel to the fire. Some British tabloids went all in. Headlines like, "The Queen's darkest secret finally exposed," started appearing. Morning talk shows had debates about whether the monarchy was still trustworthy. And you know what's interesting? Many older Brits, the ones who lived through the whole Charles-Diana-Camilla drama, were the angriest. They felt like history was repeating itself. But Americans? Oh, Americans love a good royal scandal. The US has always been fascinated with the British monarchy, even though they technically broke away from it hundreds of years ago. To many Americans, the royal family is like a real-life soap opera. So when this story came out, it wasn't just royal watchers who were talking about it, everybody was. Fox News, CNN, and even independent YouTubers started covering it. Some American commentators were comparing it to political corruption, saying things like, "This is why we don't do kings and queens over here." Others were just enjoying the drama, saying things like, "This is better than The Crown on Netflix." But here's the funny part. While many Americans were loving the gossip, some were actually defending Camilla. They felt like the media was being unfair and attacking her just because she wasn't Diana. It was a rare moment where Americans were more sympathetic to the British royal family than the British themselves. Did the royal family say anything? Now this is where things got even more suspicious. At first, Buckingham Palace stayed completely silent. No statements, no interviews, nothing. And you know what that does, right? It makes people even more curious. Eventually, after the story kept spreading, some royal insiders spoke to the media. But their response? It was the usual "no comment" or "these claims are completely false" type of statement. And let's be honest, does anyone really believe that? One royal expert who often speaks on British TV said, "The palace is in full damage control mode." He explained that the royal family always follows the same strategy when a scandal breaks: stay silent and hope people move on. If that doesn't work, release a short statement denying everything. If things get really bad, distract the public with another story. And guess what? A few days after this revelation, Prince William and Kate suddenly had a big charity event. Coincidence? Maybe. But a lot of people thought it was a classic move to shift the focus away from Camilla. How this affected Queen Camilla's reputation. So after everything, what did this mean for Queen Camilla? Well, let's just say her popularity didn't exactly go up. Even before this, Camilla wasn't the most loved royal. She had spent years trying to rebuild her image, working on charities and staying out of drama. But deep down, a lot of people never forgot her past. And this scandal? It reminded everyone why they didn't trust her in the first place. Polls started coming out, showing that her approval ratings had dropped. Some people even started calling for her to step down as queen. Of course, that's unlikely to happen, but the fact that people were even discussing it, that says a lot. The younger generation, especially Gen Z, was the most vocal about it. Many of them grew up hearing about Diana's story, and they never fully accepted Camilla. On platforms like TikTok, people started making videos comparing old clips of Diana with new ones of Camilla. One viral TikTok had the caption, "Diana deserved better. The truth always comes out." It had millions of views. Even some royal supporters, who usually defend the monarchy no matter what, were struggling to justify this one. A royal journalist wrote, "This is the biggest challenge Queen Camilla has faced since marrying Charles. Will the public ever see her the same way again?" And that's the big question. Can Camilla ever fix her reputation after this? Or will she always be remembered as the queen with too many secrets? What do you think? Is this the final nail in the coffin for Queen Camilla's public image? Or do you think the royal family will once again escape without consequences? Let us know in the comments below.
Now, it was filmed in 2017. Anne opened up about her relationship with her mother, saying the Queen always led by example.
Something unusual just happened in the royal family, and the whole world is talking about it. A moment between Princess Anne and Queen Camilla was caught on camera, and it's not the warm, friendly exchange people expect. There's tension in their faces, sharpness in their gestures. Something feels off. The video is everywhere, and everyone is asking the same question: what's really going on between them? Was it just a small disagreement, or is there more to the story? This heated moment is making headlines, and the details might just change the way people see the royals forever. Where and when was this footage taken? This particular exchange happened at a high-profile royal event, one where both Anne and Camilla were present alongside other members of the royal family. Now, when it comes to these formal occasions, everything is carefully planned out. Who stands where, who speaks when, and how everyone is supposed to behave. The royal family is always under a microscope, and even the slightest movement or glance can spark headlines. This event was no exception. But what made this moment stand out was that it wasn't just a passing look or a simple exchange of words. It was a visible moment of tension, one that unfolded right in front of the cameras. And that's what makes it so fascinating. These women know they are always being watched. They are trained to keep their emotions in check, especially during public appearances. So, if something slips through, it usually means there's more happening beneath the surface. Now, let's talk about what exactly we saw in the footage. The body language speaks volumes. Even without hearing a single word, you can tell something is off just by looking at their body language. Princess Anne, as always, stands tall with a strong and commanding posture. She has always been known for her no-nonsense approach, and that absolutely comes through in this clip. Her facial expressions are sharp, her eyes focused, her brows slightly furrowed, and her mouth tight. It's the look of someone who is either irritated, frustrated, or just downright unimpressed. On the other hand, Queen Camilla appears more reserved. Her posture is slightly tense, her shoulders stiff. She seems to be reacting to whatever Anne is saying, but not with the same level of energy. Instead, she looks like she's trying to keep things under control. There's even a moment where she glances away slightly, as if she's trying to dismiss the situation or avoid engaging in a full-blown confrontation. But the most telling part of the whole exchange is Anne's hand gestures. If you watch closely, she isn't just speaking. She's emphasizing her words with her hands, using small but firm movements. It's the kind of thing people do when they're making a strong point, when they want the other person to understand exactly what they're saying. This isn't casual chit-chat. This is Anne making it very clear that she has something to say, and she's not holding back. Meanwhile, Camilla doesn't match Anne's intensity. Instead, she seems more defensive. She keeps her hands close to her body, her expressions are less animated, and her overall stance suggests that she is either uncomfortable or trying to maintain composure. The tension between them is palpable, even though it only lasts a few seconds. What was actually said? Now here's where things get even more interesting. The audio in the clip isn't perfect, so you don't hear every single word clearly. But experts and lip readers have attempted to analyze it, and from what we can gather, it seems that Anne is questioning something, possibly even challenging Camilla on a particular matter. Her tone, while not outright aggressive, is definitely firm. It has that sharpness to it, like she's either correcting something or expressing dissatisfaction. Camilla's response, however, is much shorter. It almost seems like she's brushing it off or trying to downplay whatever Anne is saying, and that's what makes this moment so intriguing. If this was just a friendly discussion, you'd expect smiles, relaxed body language, or maybe even a quick laugh. But there's none of that. Instead, there's a sense of tension, of two women who clearly don't see eye to eye on whatever they're discussing. So, what could they have been talking about? And more importantly, what could have triggered this moment in the first place? What could have caused the tension? There are a few possible explanations floating around, and honestly, all of them make sense. One theory is that Princess Anne isn't entirely comfortable with Camilla's role as queen consort. Anne has been a dedicated working royal her entire life. She has followed the rules, upheld tradition, and carried out her duties without complaint. Camilla, on the other hand, didn't take the traditional route into the royal family. Given her history with King Charles and the complicated past surrounding her relationship with the late Princess Diana, there's a possibility that Anne still doesn't fully accept her as queen. Another possibility is that the disagreement was about the event itself. These royal gatherings are meticulously planned, and sometimes tensions rise over things like seating arrangements, schedules, or even how certain duties are being carried out. Anne is known for being direct and outspoken. If she felt that something wasn't being handled properly, she wouldn't hesitate to call it out. Maybe Camilla was trying to assert herself in a situation where Anne felt she shouldn't. There's also the chance that this was simply Anne being frustrated with how things are being run under King Charles's reign. While Anne has always been fiercely loyal to her brother, she is also someone who values efficiency and tradition. If she sees things changing in a way that she doesn't agree with, she's not the type to just sit back and let it happen. Camilla, as queen, is now a central figure in the monarchy, so if Anne had concerns, this could have been her way of expressing them. And of course, we can't ignore the fact that Anne and Camilla have never been particularly close. While they've always been civil, there have been rumors for years that Anne never fully warmed up to Camilla. Unlike other members of the royal family, Anne doesn't seem to go out of her way to praise or acknowledge Camilla in public. If there has been any lingering tension between them, this moment could have been a small glimpse into that underlying issue. Whatever the cause, one thing is certain. This wasn't just a casual, meaningless moment. This was real tension, caught on camera, between two of the most important women in the royal family. And if this is how they interact in public, one has to wonder, what's really going on behind palace doors? Did Princess Anne ever have issues with Camilla dating Charles? Before Camilla became part of the royal family, before she even married Charles, she was involved in a different love story, one that actually connects her to Princess Anne. Most people know that Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles before eventually marrying Charles. But what many don't realize is that before Andrew and Camilla became a couple, Andrew had a romantic connection with Princess Anne. Yes, Princess Anne and Andrew Parker Bowles were romantically linked in the early 1970s. However, because Andrew was Catholic, he wasn't considered a suitable match for Anne. royal traditions at the time made it difficult for a princess to marry someone of a different faith. So, their relationship never became serious, and Andrew eventually moved on to Camilla. Now, does this mean Anne was bitter or jealous when Camilla married Andrew? Not necessarily. There's no direct evidence to suggest Anne was upset about it, but let's be honest. Relationships, especially in high society, can be complicated. Even if Anne had no personal issues with Camilla back then, things changed when Camilla got involved with Charles. Was Princess Anne always cold towards Camilla? Princess Anne is known for her straightforward, no-nonsense personality. She has never been one to pretend or play games, especially in public. So, if she doesn't like someone or doesn't approve of something, it's pretty obvious. When Charles and Camilla's relationship became public, it created waves of controversy. Anne, like many others in the royal family, likely had opinions about how things unfolded. Charles was married to Diana, and the affair with Camilla wasn't exactly a secret. The scandal affected the entire royal family, putting them under intense media scrutiny. While Anne and Diana weren't necessarily close, Anne may have still disapproved of how Camilla entered the royal family. After all, Anne is a person who values tradition and duty above all else. She has always been one of the hardest-working royals, rarely seeking attention or drama. So, seeing Camilla at the center of one of the biggest royal scandals might not have sat well with her. Even today, their interactions remain somewhat formal. They stand together at public events, they share polite smiles, but they rarely seem to share warm, friendly moments like other members of the royal family. Unlike King Charles, who has worked hard to ensure Camilla is accepted by the public, Anne hasn't gone out of her way to show affection toward her. Tensions between Diana and Camilla. To understand the possible tension between Anne and Camilla, we have to look at the bigger picture, Camilla's history with Diana. Diana was one of the most beloved members of the royal family. She had a deep connection with the public, she was relatable, and she had a natural charm that made people adore her. When the truth about Charles and Camilla's affair came out, the public turned against Camilla. She was seen as the woman who ruined Diana's marriage and, by extension, the royal family's image. Even within the royal family, there were mixed feelings about Camilla. Queen Elizabeth reportedly took a long time to accept her, and Prince Philip also had reservations. Many members of the royal household knew how much pain Diana went through because of the situation, and that likely included Princess Anne. Anne has never spoken publicly about her personal feelings on the matter, but considering her strong sense of duty and tradition, it wouldn't be surprising if she was one of the royals who wasn't particularly welcoming toward Camilla in the early days. Over time, public opinion on Camilla softened, and she was eventually accepted as Charles's wife and later as queen consort. But personal relationships within the royal family don't always follow public narratives. Just because people have accepted Camilla now doesn't mean old tensions have disappeared behind closed doors. Disagreements between Charles and Anne in the past. Another key factor in this story is Anne's relationship with her brother Charles. Many assume that royal siblings are always close, but that's not necessarily true. Charles and Anne have very different personalities. Charles is more sensitive, thoughtful, and invested in modernizing the monarchy. Anne, on the other hand, is practical, duty-focused, and believes in keeping things as they have always been. These differences have led to disagreements over the years. For example, when Charles was advocating for a more modern and relaxed monarchy, Anne wasn't necessarily on board. She has always been one of the most dedicated royals, taking on hundreds of engagements every year without expecting praise. Meanwhile, Charles has been more vocal about wanting to change certain aspects of royal life, which may not have always aligned with Anne's views. Additionally, when Charles was preparing to marry Camilla, not everyone in the family was thrilled. While Queen Elizabeth eventually gave her approval, reports suggest that Anne was not among the biggest supporters of the union. Again, this wasn't necessarily about personal dislike. It could have been about how everything played out in the past. Anne has always been about duty and stability, and the scandal surrounding Charles and Camilla had already caused enough chaos for the royal family. Publicized moments of friction in the royal family. The royal family has had plenty of conflicts over the years. If there's tension between Anne and Camilla, it's just one of many power struggles that have played out behind palace doors. One of the biggest ongoing royal conflicts is between Prince William and Prince Harry. Once incredibly close, the two brothers are now barely on speaking terms. Their feud has played out in front of the world, with Harry stepping away from royal duties and publicly criticizing the institution. Another historical example is the tension between Prince Charles, now king, and his father, Prince Philip. Philip was a strong-willed, disciplined man, while Charles was more sensitive and introspective. Their different approaches to life led to clashes, particularly when Charles was younger. Even Queen Elizabeth and her sister, Princess Margaret, had moments of friction. Margaret, known for her rebellious nature, often felt restricted by royal rules, while Elizabeth had to put duty above everything else. Their different paths led to moments of disagreement, though they always remained close as sisters. So, when we see a moment of tension between Anne and Camilla, it's nothing new in royal history. These people may be royals, but they
It's been obviously fantastic, and she's been a little joy of heaven, but at the same time, it is more responsibility.
Something has changed in the royal family, and it's something no one saw coming. Princess Charlotte, the little girl everyone thought they knew, looks completely different now. When Kate Middleton and Prince William saw her, they couldn't hold back their tears. It wasn't just a small change. It was something big. Something that left the world in shock. What happened to their daughter? Why is everyone talking about this transformation? Behind the palace doors, something unexpected took place, and it has left even the royal family emotional. The truth behind this moment is bigger than anyone could have ever imagined. The unexpected transformation of Princess Charlotte. It was a normal royal event, just like many others, where the family was out in public, smiling for the cameras. But this time, something felt different. All eyes were suddenly on Princess Charlotte. She had always been the sweet, playful little girl known for her cheeky moments. Whether it was waving at the cameras or playfully sticking out her tongue, Charlotte always brought a spark of fun wherever she went. But on this special day, royal watchers and the public couldn't help but notice a huge change in her. It was like watching a completely new version of Charlotte. She looked so grown up, so confident, and so poised. It left people shocked. A new level of maturity and grace. As she stepped out of the car, Charlotte carried herself like a young lady who knew exactly what her role was. She walked next to her mother, Kate Middleton, with her back straight and her chin slightly up. There was a calm and soft smile on her face, the kind that showed respect and confidence at the same time. Gone was the playful little girl people were used to seeing. Instead, Charlotte showed a level of maturity that no one expected from an 8-year-old. Every move she made was graceful. She didn't fidget or act restless like most children would in such a serious event. Instead, she stayed calm, looked around politely, and followed every instruction perfectly. People watching the event said it was like Charlotte had suddenly grown up overnight. Some even felt that for a moment, she wasn't just the royal couple's daughter. She looked like a future queen. The surprise talent that shocked everyone. But it wasn't just her grace and poise that surprised everyone. What really touched people's hearts was the discovery of a hidden talent. Reports began to surface that Charlotte had recently participated in a school event. During that event, she did something that most children her age would be terrified of. She stood up and gave a speech in front of a big crowd. Eyewitnesses described how Charlotte spoke with confidence, her voice steady and clear. There was no stuttering, no looking around nervously. She kept her eyes on the audience and delivered her words beautifully. People clapped, some even stunned into silence by how well this young girl performed. For Kate and William, hearing about this moment was overwhelming. As parents, they always knew Charlotte was special. But seeing their little girl step into such a big moment with so much courage brought tears to their eyes. A physical change that turned heads. Along with her behavior, there was another change that caught everyone's attention: Charlotte's growing resemblance to her late grandmother, Princess Diana. For years, people have often said that Charlotte looks like the Queen when she was younger. But this time, many couldn't help but notice that Charlotte's features were changing. Her facial expressions, her smile, and even the gentle way she looked at people. It all reminded everyone of Diana. The media was quick to pick up on this. Photos of Charlotte at the event were placed side by side with pictures of Princess Diana at a similar age. The resemblance was striking. People started calling Charlotte the young Diana, and royal fans all over the world shared their thoughts online, with many saying how beautiful and graceful Charlotte had become. Kate and William's emotional reaction. For Kate and William, this transformation was more than just a proud parenting moment. It was deeply emotional. Witnesses at the event noticed that both parents had teary eyes at one point. It wasn't hard to imagine what they were feeling in that moment. For William, seeing his daughter act with such grace and maturity must have brought back memories of his own childhood. He lost his mother, Princess Diana, at such a young age. Watching Charlotte remind him of Diana in so many ways was likely both beautiful and heartbreaking. Kate, on the other hand, has always been a hands-on mother. She has worked so hard to raise her children in the most normal way possible, despite their royal status. Seeing Charlotte grow up so fast, achieving things beyond her years, must have filled her with pride, and a little sadness too. It's every parent's dream to see their child succeed, but there's also that bittersweet feeling when you realize your little one is no longer so little. That moment hit both Kate and William hard. They were not just proud parents, they were emotional, deeply touched by how quickly time was passing. The connection to Princess Diana. The comparisons between Charlotte and Princess Diana grew stronger after that day. People couldn't stop talking about how Charlotte carried herself. The gentle smiles, the caring eyes, the way she connected with people. Diana was known as the People's Princess because of her kind heart and her natural way of making everyone around her feel special. In Charlotte, many saw the same spark. Some royal experts even said that Charlotte might grow up to be the one who carries Diana's legacy forward. It's not just about looks, but about the personality shining through. Charlotte has always been kind, thoughtful, and caring, traits that Diana was loved for. William, who was very close to his mother, must have felt that connection deeply. Watching his daughter reflect so much of his beloved mother must have been a mix of pride and sorrow. For the world, it was a heartwarming moment. It felt like Diana was still here in some way, living on through her granddaughter. Fans from around the world shared pictures and videos of Charlotte, celebrating the little princess who reminded them so much of the woman they all loved and lost. What this means for the royal family. Charlotte's transformation wasn't just a personal moment for the family. It had a bigger meaning for the royal family as a whole. In a time where the royal family often faces challenges and criticism, Charlotte's grace and charm brought a fresh wave of positivity. People started talking about how Charlotte could become one of the most important members of the royal family in the future. Even though she is not the heir, her presence is powerful. She has the potential to be a strong female figure, someone who connects the old traditions with the new generation. The media picked up on this quickly. Headlines read, "Princess Charlotte steals the show," and "A future queen in the making." Social media was full of admiration for Charlotte. Fans praised Kate and William for raising such a wonderful young girl. Many said that if Diana was alive, she would have been so proud of Charlotte. Charlotte's transformation also sparked conversations about the modern monarchy. People wondered what the future holds for her. Will she follow in Diana's footsteps and become a symbol of kindness and compassion? Will she take on bigger royal duties as she grows older? While no one can predict the future, one thing is certain. Charlotte has already captured the hearts of millions. Her recent transformation showed the world that she is not just a royal by blood, but also by heart. A moment that touched millions. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about royalty. It's about family, love, and the emotions that all parents feel when they see their child grow up. Kate and William's tears were not just tears of pride, but also of love, loss, and hope for the future. It was a reminder that no matter how royal or rich you are, moments like these touch everyone the same way. Every parent can relate to that bittersweet feeling of watching their child take one more step towards adulthood. And every grandparent, living or gone, is somehow a part of that journey too. Princess Charlotte's transformation was unexpected, but it was beautiful. It gave the world a glimpse of the young lady she is becoming and reminded everyone of the powerful bond between generations. And somewhere, somehow, you can't help but feel that Princess Diana was smiling down, proud of the little girl carrying a piece of her heart into the future. The royal family has seen many changes over the years, but this one has left everyone speechless. Kate and William's reaction shows just how deeply this transformation has touched them. As the world watches closely, one thing is clear: Princess Charlotte's journey is only just beginning.
This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. Someone, the name blacked out, is planning an accident in my car.
Something has come to light that no one ever saw coming. A note, written by Princess Diana herself, has been found in FBI files, hidden away for years. And what it says is truly shocking. For decades, people have wondered about her tragic death. There have been rumors, theories, and questions with no clear answers. But this note? It changes everything. It reveals fears she had, warnings she gave, things that now seem impossible to ignore. Why was it kept secret for so long? Who wanted it hidden? And most importantly, what does this mean for everything we thought we knew? What does the note say? Princess Diana's story has always been full of mystery, but this new discovery takes things to another level. A note, handwritten by Diana herself, has been found in secret FBI documents. But what exactly does it say? At first glance, the letter is shocking. It talks about her deep emotional struggles and hints at something even more unsettling. Some believe it is a suicide note. Others think it might be something else entirely. But before we jump to conclusions, we need to break it down carefully. Did Diana express suicidal thoughts? This is the biggest question. Did Princess Diana really want to take her own life? The note reportedly describes feelings of isolation, fear, and deep sadness. It talks about how she felt like she had no control over her own life. It even suggests that she was overwhelmed to the point where she didn't know how much longer she could keep going. But here's the twist. The wording of the note is not clear-cut. Some experts say it sounds like a cry for help rather than a final goodbye. It's the kind of letter someone writes when they feel trapped, not necessarily when they are ready to give up. Diana had spoken about feeling alone before. She had opened up about her struggles with depression, bulimia, and anxiety. She once said that she felt like a prisoner inside the royal family. So, was this note just another moment where she was expressing her pain? Or was it something more serious? This is where things get complicated. When and where was this note written? The timing of this letter is very important. If Diana wrote it during her divorce from Prince Charles, it would make sense why she was feeling so low. That was one of the hardest times in her life. She was dealing with constant media attention, betrayal, and public humiliation. Imagine this. One day, you're the most loved woman in the world, and the next, you're being pushed out of the royal family. That's exactly what happened to Diana. She had given everything to her marriage. But Charles had been in love with Camilla Parker Bowles the whole time. When the truth finally came out, Diana was devastated. She was also losing her title, her home, and even her sense of security. The royal family was cutting her off, and the press was making things worse. Could this note have been written in the middle of all that? Or was it written even later, when she had finally found love with Dodi Fayed? That changes everything. If she had written it while she was happy, then why would she be thinking about ending her life? The FBI hasn't revealed the exact date of the note yet, and that's what makes this so frustrating. The timeline could tell us whether Diana was truly suicidal, or if this was just a moment of overwhelming stress. Was the handwriting authentic? Now, here's where things get even more suspicious. How do we even know this note is real? Experts have analyzed the handwriting, and from the first look, it does seem to match Diana's usual style. But there are also some strange differences. Some letters don't look quite right. The spacing feels off in certain parts. Now, we have to ask, could someone have forged this letter? If the letter was truly written by Diana, then it is a painful reminder of her struggles. But if it was fake, who would want to create a fake suicide note? And more importantly, why? We have seen cases before where documents related to Diana have been altered. Remember the infamous BBC Panorama interview? It was later revealed that Diana was tricked into giving that interview through fake documents. If people were willing to lie to Diana back then, who's to say they wouldn't lie about this note now? Some theorists believe this letter conveniently appeared to change the way people see Diana's death. If people believe she was suicidal, it takes attention away from the theory that she was murdered. Could this be part of a larger cover-up? How does this compare to Diana's "they are planning my accident" letter? This is where things get really eerie. In 1995, Diana wrote another famous letter to her butler, Paul Burrell. In it, she said something shocking. "My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury." This letter became one of the biggest pieces of evidence for people who believe Diana was assassinated. She had predicted that something would happen to her in a car crash, 2 years before she actually died in a car crash. Now, let's compare the two notes. The 1995 letter clearly shows that Diana believed someone was out to get her. She wasn't suicidal. She was scared. She thought people were plotting against her. The newly found letter seems to suggest the opposite, that Diana was feeling hopeless and might have wanted to harm herself. Do you see how these two letters completely contradict each other? One letter says Diana was fighting for her life because people were targeting her. The other suggests she had given up and was thinking of ending things herself. Which one are we supposed to believe? If Diana had truly been planning to take her own life, then why would she have written that first letter warning about a staged accident? You don't write a note predicting your own murder if you actually plan to harm yourself later. This is why many people don't trust this newly found letter. Some believe it was planted to make Diana's death look less suspicious. After all, if people think she was already struggling, then her tragic end wouldn't seem so strange. It's a way of silencing the murder theories without actually proving anything. But if Diana did write both letters, then this is even more heartbreaking. It would mean she lived in a constant state of fear, sadness, and paranoia, believing that both the world and her own mind were working against her. So, what is the truth? That's the hardest part. We don't know yet. What we do know is that Diana's life was never simple. She was either the most loved woman in the world or the most hunted. She had moments of deep pain, but she also had moments of hope. If this letter is real, then it shows just how much she was struggling. But if it's fake, then someone is still trying to control her story, years after her death. One thing is certain, the mystery of Princess Diana is far from over. Was Diana being watched? First, we need to talk about something that not many people know. Princess Diana was being watched, and not just by the British government, but also by the US intelligence agencies. Now, you might be thinking, why would the FBI or the CIA care about Diana? She wasn't a politician. She wasn't a world leader. She wasn't involved in government affairs. She was a princess who spent her time helping charities and taking care of her 2 sons. But here's the thing, Diana was powerful. Not in a political way, but in a way that scared powerful people. She had the ability to change public opinion overnight. She could speak about a cause, and suddenly the whole world would care. She spoke about things that many people in power didn't want to be talked about. Things like landmines, AIDS awareness, and even corruption. There's one more thing. At the time of her death, Diana was dating Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian billionaire. There were rumors, big, loud rumors, that they were about to get married. Some even believed she was pregnant with his child. Now, let's be real. The British royal family did not like this relationship. Imagine the future King of England, Prince William, having a Muslim stepfather and possibly even a half-sibling who was part Arab. For the monarchy, which had a long history of keeping things traditional, this was a huge deal. So, Diana wasn't just a princess. She was someone who could change history. And that's why she was watched. The US government's secret involvement now, this is where things get even stranger. The FBI has never openly admitted to watching Diana, but the CIA? Well, they slipped up. In 1999, 2 years after her death, the CIA confirmed that they had over 1,000 pages of files on Diana. Yes, you heard that right, 1,000 pages. And guess what? They refused to release most of them. The official reason? National security. Wait, what? National security? Why would a British princess's personal life be a national security issue for the United States? That's the big mystery. Some believe that Diana's campaign against landmines put her on the radar of military groups. Others think that her relationship with Dodi Fayed was what made her a target, and some even go as far as saying that certain governments didn't want her around anymore. But here's where things get even creepier. Among the few documents that were released, there were reports that Diana believed she was being spied on. She had even told her friends that she felt her phone was tapped. And now, years later, we find out that the FBI had a note that she wrote? That's not a coincidence. How was this note discovered? Now let's get to the big part. How was this note even found? Well, it wasn't found in some old storage box. It wasn't lying in a pile of forgotten papers. It was hidden in classified files. The note was part of a batch of secret FBI documents that were only released because of a Freedom of Information Act request. This means that someone had to fight to get these documents unsealed. They weren't just randomly given to the public. For decades, nobody knew this note even existed. It was tucked away, buried in files that nobody had access to. Which makes you wonder, was this information intentionally kept from the public? And if so, why? Was this note suppressed? Now, here's where things get really weird. If this note was so important, why was it hidden for so long? There are only two possible reasons. One, it was just forgotten. It got buried in the middle of thousands of other classified documents, and nobody thought it was important enough to release. But let's be honest. Does that sound likely? This is Princess Diana we're talking about. Every little detail about her life has been analyzed and discussed for years. If there was a note like this, it would have been found much earlier. Which brings us to the second reason, and this one is more disturbing. The note was suppressed on purpose. Think about it. If this note had been released years ago, what would have happened? If it contained anything that supported the theory that Diana was being watched, manipulated, or even threatened, then suddenly, all the conspiracy theories wouldn't seem so crazy anymore. If it suggested that she was struggling mentally in a way that was never made public, then people would start questioning everything about the official story of her death. The bottom line is this: someone didn't want this note to come out, and now that it has, it raises more questions than it answers. So, what does this note really mean? Does it prove Diana was struggling so much that she wanted to take her own life? Or does it make the mystery of her death even deeper? Let's be honest. Since the day Princess Diana died, people have had their doubts. The official story says she was in a car accident while trying to escape the paparazzi. But for years, many believed that it wasn't an accident at all. People said she was murdered. Some believed the royal family was behind it. Others thought powerful forces wanted her gone. But now, with this note coming to light, things have taken an unexpected turn. If Diana really wrote a letter hinting at suicide, does that mean all those theories were wrong? Could it be that she was truly in emotional pain and no one listened? Or, and this is a big or, was this note planted? Was it written under pressure? Was someone trying to build a case even before she died? Does this note challenge the assassination theory? For years, Diana herself believed she was being watched. She once told her butler, Paul Burrell, that she feared for her life. She even wrote a letter predicting that she would die in a car crash. That letter is real. It's been public knowledge for a long time. In it, she said that someone was planning to tamper with her car's brakes. Now, if someone was planning to harm her, why would she also write a note about suicide? These two things don't really match, do they? If this note is real, then some people will say, see? Maybe she wasn't murdered. Maybe she was just deeply sad, and the accident was truly an accident. But is it really that simple? The people who believe she was killed still have questions. They ask, if this note existed all along, why are we only hearing about it now? Why did the FBI have it? And why would a woman who was full of life, a woman who had just started a new relationship, suddenly write a note about ending it all? It just doesn't sit right. If Diana was truly in danger, it's possible that this note was a distraction, a way to make sure that if something happened to her, people wouldn't suspect foul play. And that makes you wonder, was this note really written by Diana? Or does this prove she was under psychological pressure? Let's consider something else. What if this note doesn't mean she planned to harm herself, but instead, it shows the emotional pain she was in? Diana had been through a lot. Her marriage to Prince Charles was a disaster. She felt alone in the royal family. She battled bulimia, depression, and an overwhelming amount of media pressure. Every single thing she did was watched. Every mistake was put on the front page of a newspaper. Every emotion was judged. Imagine being in that position. Imagine feeling like you have no escape. Now add to that the fact that Diana was speaking out. She had done that famous interview with the BBC where she said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." She was open about her struggles. She was trying to break free from the royal family's control. And we all know how dangerous it can be when powerful people don't want the truth to come out. Could it be that Diana was being pushed into a mental state where she felt completely helpless? Could she have written this note during one of her lowest moments, not because she actually wanted to end her life, but because she felt like she had no one to turn to? Or, and this is where it gets really dark, was someone making sure she felt that way? Was she being harassed or manipulated into despair? This is something we need to think about. We already know that Diana felt like she was being watched. She had told people that her phones were bugged. She felt like she was being followed. And here's the thing, she wasn't wrong. There have been reports that intelligence agencies were keeping tabs on her. MI6, the British intelligence service, was known to have files on Diana. The FBI had documents on her. The CIA had some records too. The big question is, why? Why were all these intelligence agencies watching a woman who was no longer even a part of the royal family? Some believe it was because of her relationship with Dodi Fayed. He was the son of a billionaire, a man with powerful international connections. There were rumors that Diana and Dodi were going to get married. Some even speculated that she was pregnant. Now, if that was true, it could have caused major problems for the royal family. Think about it. A future king's mother married to a man from a different religious and cultural background? It might not sound like a big deal now, but back then, to the people in power, it could have been. So, was Diana being pushed into a state of despair? Was she being watched so closely that she felt like she had nowhere to go? If someone wanted her out of the picture, could psychological pressure have been part of the plan? And that brings us to the biggest question of all. Did she actually write this note? Or was it written for her? Could this note have been written under duress? This is where things get even murkier. Let's say for a moment that Diana did write this note. But let's also consider that she may not have done it freely. Imagine a scenario where someone close to her convinced her to write it. Maybe they told her, "Write down how you're feeling. It'll help." Maybe they said, "If something happens, people should know you were struggling." But what if that person wasn't looking out for her? What if this note was meant to be used later? And here's something else. What if she didn't write it at all? Handwriting analysis can tell us a lot, but let's be real. Forensics can be manipulated. If someone wanted a document that made Diana's death look like a result of her own struggles, it wouldn't be impossible to create one. That might sound extreme, but we've seen cover-ups before. Powerful people protect their own. If there was something bigger going on, a simple note could help rewrite the narrative. Which brings us to the next big player in this story. The role of the British monarchy and intelligence agencies. If Diana's note was written willingly, it shows her mental state. If it wasn't, it opens up an entirely different conversation. Either way, this note being in the FBI's possession means one thing. Princess Diana was under surveillance. The British monarchy has always denied involvement in Diana's death. They say the crash was a tragic accident. But if Diana really was being watched, we have to ask, were they worried about what she might do next? Did they fear that she was going to expose something? Did they see her as a threat? MI6 has been accused of having a role in her death before. Some former intelligence officers have even claimed that Diana's car crash was no accident. If there was ever a moment to shift the blame away, wouldn't a suicide note be the perfect tool? This note doesn't just change the story, it raises 100 more questions. Was Diana being watched to keep her safe, or to keep her quiet? If she really wrote this note, was it a desperate cry for help? Or was she being pushed into thinking she had no other way out? And most importantly, if this note had never been revealed, would we have ever known about it at all? What do you think? Does this note change your opinion on what really happened to her? Or do you believe there's still something we're not being told? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll keep following the truth, no matter where it leads. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Something big just happened, and now the whole world is talking. A life sentence was given, and King Charles's reaction was caught on camera. The way he looked, the way he moved, people can't stop watching. Some say he was shocked, others think he knew this was coming. But one thing is clear. This moment has taken over the internet. Everyone is trying to understand what his reaction really means. Was he upset? Was he expecting this? Or is there something more behind that look? Background of the case. This case has grabbed the world's attention like no other. A powerful figure, once considered untouchable, has been sentenced to life in prison. But who is this person? And what crime did they commit that led to such a harsh punishment? The person in question is no ordinary criminal. They were once highly respected, a well-known name in elite circles. However, shocking allegations turned their reputation upside down. The trial was long and dramatic, filled with shocking testimonies, undeniable evidence, and intense courtroom moments. People watched as the case unfolded, revealing secrets that had been buried for years. The charges were serious. The convicted individual was accused of committing crimes that shook the public to its core. Investigators spent months collecting evidence, and when it was finally presented in court, there was no escaping the truth. The evidence included phone records, eyewitness statements, and even video footage that left no doubt about their guilt. The judge had no choice but to hand down the harshest punishment: life in prison. The media played a huge role in this case. News channels covered every single detail, analyzing every move made in court. Social media exploded with discussions, theories, and debates. Some people believed justice was served, while others thought the punishment was too severe. Protests broke out, and people gathered outside the courtroom, waiting for the final verdict. The moment the judge announced the life sentence, the internet went wild. But nothing prepared people for what happened next: King Charles's reaction. King Charles's connection to the case. The biggest question on everyone's mind is, why is King Charles reacting to this? What does this case have to do with him? Why does his response matter so much? Well, the answer lies in the deep and complex ties between the royal family and the convicted individual. There are rumors that the person sentenced to life had close connections to the British monarchy. Some reports even suggest that they had attended private royal events and had personal meetings with key members of the royal family. King Charles has always been careful about his public image. He knows that every word, every expression, and every reaction is watched closely by the public. So, when news broke about this life sentence, people naturally turned their eyes toward him. Would he ignore it? Would he comment? Would he defend or distance himself? The world waited for his response. And when it finally came, it took everyone by surprise. The exact reaction of King Charles. The moment King Charles heard about the life sentence, he was in the middle of an important royal event. Cameras were rolling, reporters were present, and all eyes were on him. As the news reached him, people noticed a sudden shift in his expression. His usual calm and composed demeanor changed for a brief moment. He looked tense, almost as if he had been caught off guard. Video clips of his reactions started circulating online within minutes. Some showed him looking down, avoiding eye contact with reporters. Others captured a brief moment of unease as he adjusted his posture. Experts began analyzing his body language, with some claiming that he looked visibly shaken, while others believed he was simply trying to remain neutral. But it wasn't just his facial expression that got people talking. Shortly after the news broke, an official statement was released by Buckingham Palace. The statement was short, carefully worded, and left room for interpretation. It neither condemned nor defended the convicted person, but instead focused on distancing the royal family from the controversy. However, some royal insiders claim that behind closed doors, there was a lot more going on. Sources suggest that King Charles had private discussions with his advisors about how to handle the situation. Some believe he was deeply troubled by the news, while others think he was frustrated that the royal family's name was once again being dragged into a major scandal. Meanwhile, other members of the royal family also had to deal with the situation. Prince William, known for his measured responses, chose to remain silent. Princess Kate, who rarely speaks on legal matters, was seen avoiding reporters. And then there was Prince Harry, though no official statement came from him. Some believe his past comments about royal scandals might suggest how he feels about the case. Social media and public response. As soon as King Charles's reaction went public, the internet exploded. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram were flooded with posts about his expression, his body language, and the statement from Buckingham Palace. People had strong opinions, and they weren't afraid to share them. Some users were quick to call him out. They believed his reaction showed that he was more affected by the case than he wanted to admit. Guilt written all over his face, one Twitter user wrote. Others defended him, saying he was just caught off guard and that people were reading too much into it. He's the king, not a reality TV star. Leave him alone, another user commented. Memes also took over the internet. Some showed edited clips of King Charles looking shocked with dramatic music in the background. Others compared his reaction to famous movie scenes. The hashtag #King Charles reaction started trending worldwide, with thousands of tweets pouring in every second. Even celebrities and politicians jumped into the conversation. Some supported King Charles, saying that it was unfair to put him under scrutiny for something he had no control over. Others, however, used this moment to question the royal family's past connections. Political and legal implications. King Charles' reaction may seem like just another viral moment, but it has bigger consequences. When a monarch reacts to a high-profile case, it can influence public opinion. Some people now wonder if this case will change how the royal family is viewed. Could this scandal affect King Charles's popularity? Will it lead to new discussions about the monarchy's role in modern society? Legally, the case itself is closed, but the debates surrounding it are far from over. If more information comes out about the convicted individual's past connections to the royal family, it could lead to new investigations, new headlines, and even more controversy. For now, King Charles has tried to move forward, but the internet doesn't forget. His reaction is still being discussed, analyzed, and shared worldwide. Whether he likes it or not, this moment has become part of history. So, what do you think? Was King Charles truly shocked by the life sentence? Or was there more to his reaction than meets the eye? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this developing story.